Well, go ahead, Conrad. I know you're loaded with questions. I got some money for Paul, too. Go ahead, Conrad.
Yeah, so we're kind of heading towards WrestleMania now, and obviously you were a big part of the very first WrestleMania. Surely there's some fun stories about how that match was put together, the Mr. T aspect, just what was riding at the time for the WWE and the entire industry with WrestleMania. When you think back about WrestleMania 1 all those years ago, what kind of is the thing that jumps to mind?
Who was going to do the job?
I think that it had a lot to do with television, and that they were thinking that wrestling was all a bunch of baloney and fake and this and that, how they would go about it and everything, and it really kind of used to pee me off, because, hell, man, I broke bones out there, tore ligaments, and did everything else, and they thought it was all a bunch of boo-boo. And that used to bother me, and anybody that used to go that way, boy, I'd fire back at them, because that was just my personality, and I know what I went through, and I didn't go through a bunch of easy stuff. They put me through hell. Here in Masuda and Eddie Graham, and I don't think they wanted me to be a wrestler because they kept doing stuff that I should have quit, but I was too dumb to quit, and I stayed with it. And then I got to be a star like Ric Flair.
Well, tell Conrad wants to know how the WrestleMania, how did you guys package that together? All of a sudden, it's you and Piper, Hogan and Mr. T, Liberace, Muhammad Ali. You had to be overwhelmed by that, huh, Paul?
Well, not really. I mean, yes, you're right. I was. I mean, because that was unbelievable. I mean, look at them. Look at the stars and everything. But I was still from the old school, Rick, and having stars and all this and that and being like this and that. And I guess I wasn't smart enough to know that if you had those kind of stars, Liberace and people like that, well, the people, they were big, huge stars on TV.
Yes.
And I just didn't put it all together. My mentality wasn't there yet because I was taught the old school. And I mean, it was burned in my brain that there was only one way, and that's the old school, and that's to go through hell before you got to be a main eventer, and I did.
Well, overwhelmed was a bad choice of words. I meant you had to feel good about yourself at the end of the day, walking out of there, or even just walking down the aisle, because I can only imagine what the garden was like that day. Holy cow!
Oh yeah, I can remember. I can remember the pulling up to the arena there in Madison Square Garden. And there must have been 2,000 people out there. When I got out of that car, I mean, all hell broke loose. Good Lord, I couldn't believe it. How many people that were there that was so into it. I mean, they were into it. And they were booing and yelling and throwing stuff and everything. And they didn't like me too much, I don't think, at the time.
Well, you and Piper had more heat than anybody in that time frame, for sure.
Oh God! I mean, it wasn't. I went through a lot of fights, and it's either take crap or if somebody pushed you or throws something on you or this or that. I wasn't real good about that. And that was just my mentality of it. People don't do stuff to me, like that. But it was being done. And they were throwing cans of bottles in the ring. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But I was crazy too because I didn't give a damn. I wanted the heat. I wanted to get all the heat I could get. And I tried to do that.
Well, you
and
did.
I did.
You did. You had one of the greatest runs in the history of the company with Hulk, right?
Yeah, man, Terry, man, this guy, we didn't really know each other that well, but I knew him because we're both from Tampa, and he was bigger than life. I mean, here's a guy that was 300 and some pounds, and he was a monster, and I was a monster too, but in a different way. He was show business, and I was a shooter. And, and finally, when I got the opportunity, and Vince is the one that said, well, these two guys, I was starting to make a name for myself because of the way I wrestled and everything, Rick. And, that's what you had to do back then. You had to go out there and you had to do stuff that other people didn't do.
Yep.
And I tried to do that. And you did it better than anybody. I mean, and I ain't saying this because you were on the phone, but you were. You were the man, buddy.
Thank you.
And you get anywhere to be close by you and close by Hogan and everything, well, that's only going to make me, I could live with being, second, third, fourth best. I'd be all right. Still make a good living. And that's what I did.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Aside from your body and the fact that you were a great worker, and Jerry Lawler will be pissed off about this, but you had the best pile driver of all time.
Yes, sir.
Jerry who?
Yeah. Jerry Lawler will be mad about this.
I'm joking. I'm joking, Jerry.
No, I'm not. Jeez. Yeah, your pile driver, brother, was it because you were so strong that everybody felt secure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some guys, you give them your body like that, and as we both know, there have been some guys that gotten hurt with that stuff. So
damn right they did.
Yeah.
Well, I know this much. And I'm not bragging, but I mean, I went to the gym 6 days a week, and I was strong. I mean, my body was strong, and my legs, I was squatting 500, 600, 700 pounds doing squats, and that's no BS. That's the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
Well, when I did mine, I jumped up in the air, and I put my legs out, straight, flat to the ring, and when I landed, the guy whoever I did it to, they shot out of my legs and they would go. And it was freaky looking. It looked like they broke their neck.
Yeah, it sure did.
And it worked. So, and I promised the guys, whoever I worked with, that I wouldn't, you're not going to break your neck. And I never did. I don't think I heard anybody really doing it, ever.
If you did, I'm not aware of it, and I would have heard about it. So.
Yeah, me too.
Go ahead,
for everybody
Conrad.
watching, if you've never seen this pile driver, it's a fun Google search. It's all over YouTube.